Welcome to another Real Estate Talk Show, featuring highlights of the best interviews from our national real estate radio show. Here's another property expert.
Well, is it possible to renovate a property and still make a profit even when the market is as unpredictable as it is today? Cherie Barber renovates for a living and also teaches others how to do it through her company, renovatingforprofit.com.au. She joins me. Hello, Cherie. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Kevin. How are you today?
Wonderful, thank you. I guess the first question is fairly obvious in light of what's happening currently with the economy. Is this a good time to renovate and sell?
Look, any time is a good time to renovate. As long as you're buying and selling in the same market, it's totally irrelevant. It all balances out.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're buying in a low market, you buy low, you sell low, it balances out. If you're buying in a high market, you buy high, you sell high, so it just all pans out.
So it's all about adding value.
100%. Profit is the name in the renovating game.
Profit and, I guess, speed, which we'll come to in just a moment. Are banks willing to lend against a property's future improved value?
They are. Look, not every bank will do that, but there's certainly some banks that will do that. Particularly for a renovator, professional renovators do use things like low docs and no docs. So it's just about making sure that you're dealing with creative finance people that know their product and can bring the relevant products to the renovator in order to get their deals across the line. Yeah,
you mentioned earlier that there's always profit in any market, but it does actually come down to speed, especially when the market changes. If you find that you're buying a down or find you're buying an up market and then you wait too long, you could be selling in a down market.
That's exactly right, and that's where a big mistake a lot of people make. They really take a very personal approach to their renovations, and that's the worst thing that you've got to do. So you need to, when you're undertaking any sort of renovation project, you need to treat it like a business. So the key thing is there, get in and get out as quickly as possible. So, for example, with cosmetic renovations, at the very worst, 6 weeks or less. We certainly have a lot of our students that are doing cosmetic renovations in about 3 to 4 weeks, and that's ideal. Obviously, for structural renovations, you want to be doing them somewhere between 3 to 7 months at the absolute most. Yeah,
well, you've answered my next question, which is what is the ideal time? Do you do a lot of the planning before you settle a property? Is that how you can get in so quickly?
No, we have to do all the planning before we buy. So, and that's the difference with professional renovators. They know exactly what they're going to do to the property. They do all the pre-planning. They know their time frames all before they buy the property.
What's the worst renovation you've done?
I don't actually do any worse renovations because I've got such a good system.
Come on, you must have done one in the early days.
Yeah, we did actually. We did have a horror property, and it was pretty much, it was one of our second or third projects where we basically started to rip down some of the property before the DA approval had come to be approved. And we did it for public safety reasons. It was quite an old derelict house that was falling down, so we took part of it down and got in trouble with council, and it actually meant that our DA got delayed. So it did result in not as profitable renovation as what we had liked. We still made money on it, but certainly not the returns that we could have made. So it was just a learning experience, and as a professional renovator, you'll always incur issues on your projects, but you want to minimise them wherever possible.
We've done a few renovations personally, and one of the hardest things I find is that cut-off point. Where do you stop renovating it for yourself or renovating it for profit?
Yeah, and look, you need to have your strategy very, very clear before you start. Are you going to be renovating this as your owner-occupier residence? Because the decisions that you make as an owner-occupier renovation are very different to the decisions that you'll make as a seller, in terms of renovating for profit. So you need to get back to your strategy, and that needs to be determined before you buy the property.
You've obviously got a good association with your bank or bankers. Do you use different bankers on different projects?
Most certainly do. So you spread your loans across all different lenders so that you can basically free up any money to go and do other deals.
What about a lender wanting to capture all your deals? Do they try and do that?
They do, because the reality is banks want to stitch you up for the rest of your financial future, but it's very, very dangerous to do that as a professional renovator, so we certainly spread our loans across many, many banks. It just means that our debt-to-service ratio isn't maximised, and it gives us the opportunity to go and do our next deal.
I mentioned at the intro that you train people how to do this, and you mentioned about your students. Is this something we can find out through your website?
You certainly can. So if they just jump onto www.renovatingforprofit.com.au, or they can see us speak live around the country through any of our promoters. So there's lots of options for people to come and learn about these workshops that we do.
So someone in Brisbane, are there workshops in Brisbane, or is it all done online?
There's workshops right across the whole country. So we do 6 workshops a year nationally, 2-day programs that teach you how to become a professional renovator.
And all the dates are on your website?
They certainly are.
Okay, that's renovatingforprofit.com.au. Cherie Barber has been my guest this morning. Cherie, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kevin.